All these rumors are fun to talk about, and Red Bull hasn't blown up yet.
Alex Albon's birthday, and his gift, Logan Sargent's car.
With the drain covers, why is this such a big issue?
That's what I'm saying. Alonso more and more is looking like Aaron Rodgers.
He's geriatric. We just kind of want him for merit mark.
You cannot win a constructor's battle when your second driver is not performing.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Things are getting crazy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Lights Out Latest. My name is Marina, and here are Steven and Tristan for what will be the final podcast in this podcast booth with the boys.
Indeed. -1, unfortunately.
-1, minus Jason, but that's okay.
It is a busy time of the year for everybody.
It is. Finals week.
Getting everybody together is tough.
Yeah. But, as always, let's get into the headlines. I know what you're going to say. Marina, you got to start with the biggest one. I'm not. We'll get into that after. I want to talk about Carlos Sainz Sr. He was announced to potentially be running against Mohammed bin Sulayem for FIA president, which I think is interesting. We talked about Susie Wolff.
Yes.
And the first thing that came to my mind was Steven when I saw this, because when we talked about Susie, you said that's a conflict of interest because of Toto. How do you feel about Carlos Sainz Sr. taking the position? Isn't that more of a conflict of interest?
I don't know if I would say more. I mean...
I don't think so. I think it's less.
Yeah, I think it's less too, personally. I mean, obviously his son's an F1 driver, but I don't know. I just feel like... I don't know.
It's like the same kind of level of conflict of interest as like Lance Stroll's dad owning the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a monetary thing. Like, you're allowed to buy a team. You're allowed to have your son race for the team. But I don't think, it's not like him as president could do anything to help Carlos, you know? Yeah. Besides, I don't know.
And also, not anything against Toto, but I don't think Carlos would let that happen either.
I think also Carlos Sainz Sr., again, I don't know if this came from him, but I heard a lot of stuff about him wanting to make the role more of like an overseer and appoint someone to specifically cover like FIA president of F1 of all the different series kind of separately, because they each deserve their own attention in their own ways and their own rules and they each have their own issues, which I thought was interesting, which kind of negates the conflict of interest. Now, of the three of them, who would be your pick?
Carlos Sainz Sr. all day, every day.
Susie.
Really?
Absolutely, Susie.
Okay, so why Carlos Sainz Sr. and why Susie?
Well, because like we just talked about, I think Susie would have more of a conflict of interest. And I don't know. I love the idea of Carlos Sainz Sr. more than Susie, personally. Maybe it's just, I don't know, I'm biased. But I don't know. Just something about Carlos Sainz Sr. just really sits nicely with me.
Okay. Why Susie?
Susie's got the... real experience managing the F1 Academy. She knows the sport on all levels because she was almost a driver. Well, she was a driver, but she's gone through the ranks in terms of the driving system. She understands the driver's point of view.
Yeah.
She's married to Toto. Toto gives her a lot of first-hand experience just by being her husband, you know?
Yeah.
I really think she is honestly the best option for everybody. She's got a good media presence. She's well liked amongst pretty much everybody. She's the most well-rounded, capable individual, I think. And Carlos Sainz Sr. doesn't sound like a bad idea either, but you know.
If I were picking with my brain, I would say Susie, but I'm picking with my heart on this one.
I think Susie is the best candidate. I think Carlos is the most likely, other than Mohammed. I still think Mohammed, as much as we hate him, I think he's still in the running because the voting is done internally. It's not done by the teams. It's not done by the drivers. It's not done by fans. Yeah. So he doesn't have to be well-liked by us. He has to be well-liked by his coworkers. And there are a lot of people that have left, but of the people that stayed, I think he's decently well-liked. So even to get someone else in that position is going to be a challenge.
So you think it's more likely that he gets reelected than someone else new comes in?
I think the most likely is that he gets reelected.
Okay.
I think the second most likely is Carlos Sainz Sr. because it's Carlos Sainz Sr. I know that Susie has all the experience. She's definitely more qualified.
Yeah.
He's a driver. He's got, in my opinion, I think even more of a platform.
No, I agree.
And,
talk about the Red Bull connection.
And I'd love,
golly.
also the Audi connection.
Well, that too, yeah.
And I hate to put it this way, but he's also a man. And I think that goes a long way in a sport that's very male dominated.
Yeah.
He's got
I mean,
longevity too.
So, exactly.
He's been in it a while.
I think Susie now becomes the least likely. But she would still be my favorite, and I think she's the most qualified.
She's not even running, though. Like, I mean, we
Yeah.
gotta put that in. It does it seem like she
that's
wants to be
true.
president?
I don't
Doesn't
think
seem
she
like
wants
it.
to.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a whole nother.
But-
It's just the heart talking. It's like, like we like her a lot. We'd like for
We
her to do
We'd
it.
love
so.
for her to run.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Moving on. Cadillac announced their branding in Miami, which I thought was super cool. Kind of unique because it's more of like American team announcing in the States what their branding is going to look like and what kind of their colors are going to look like. But I don't really want to talk too much about that. I want to talk about the fact that Mick Schumacher and Sergio Perez are both seemingly in advanced talks with Cadillac. It looks to me like they're going to go at least one experienced, one rookie.
Yeah.
I think it's not a bad idea.
What
No.
What are your thoughts on either Mick or Checo?
It's
Or do you have another idea?
I don't think I'd want either to be the foundation of my team, to be brutally honest.
I mean, if you somehow convince the man and also gave enough money, I mean, Sebastian Vettel is there.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say if you somehow convince him, because I
Yeah.
don't see him coming back
No, I don't think so.
under
But
any circumstances.
he's definitely the best one of them options. I mean, Checo is a realistic option. We look
It
at that
is.
second Red Bull car and it fucking sucks. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want to again. We crapped on him so hard last year, and he deserved it. He totally did.
Yeah.
But it's also like that car sucks.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
bad.
Maybe I'm just scarred, but I can't imagine Checo being another F1 car.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
think
It just hurts my
the
brain.
Mexican missile.
the worse Yuki does, the more in contention Checo becomes.
Oh, sure.
Because Checo had a good run when from the outside looking in, we said that both cars were good. They were a good car, whatever. He had a decent run before that at Force Indy, which became, what did it become? What was the name after Racing Point?
Yeah.
Racing Point, something like that.
You got it.
So he had a decent run. He's very experienced, but
There's a lot of animosity there too.
there's a lot of buts there. Like,
Well, see,
I
that's my thing is like, why would you want to? For me, why would you want to start a team off like that with a driver like that?
I think also
There's
you've got to
better
think
options.
about obviously Cadillac is coming into F1. It's not like they need money,
No.
but teams never going to turn down money.
No.
Like we'll talk about it with Franco Colapinto. I think that's a big reason why he's gotten the
Yeah.
seat as well. Checo comes with a lot of money. Checo comes with a lot of fans, a lot of Mexican money that can go a long way in a team. So
my thing is too. I think if they do go with Checo, I think that says a lot about what Cadillac's trying to do as an F1 team, because I feel like I think if you sign Checo, you're not there to win races. I think
I
you're
agree.
there. I think you're there to make money for your. It's a lot like what McLaren I think is doing. You're trying to win money for your brand, which is okay. But it's not great for fans.
I think the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing that Cadillac can do is pull a good F2 rookie and a good IndyCar or Formula
I
E
agree.
driver.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that's their. I think that's their play because I don't see any former if you can't convince Seb, which I don't think you can because I just
Even
think
then,
he's happy.
It'd be one thing
Yeah.
if he was like a reserve driver, but I don't want him to be like a driver on my team necessarily. No offense to him.
No.
But
It's
like
just I'm a brand new team. I don't want a guy who's
my point being
quote,
like
washed.
other than Seb, there's no one else unless you can convince. I mean, Valtteri's an option.
Yeah, it's actually true.
I
It's a
think
good one.
Valtteri is a decent. Like I think I wouldn't go as far as to say you don't want to win races if you sign Valtteri Bottas. I think he's still in him, and I think he's still
If you sign
involved with
Valtteri,
Mercedes and
he's
stuff.
definitely your number two in my
But like,
opinion.
okay, hear me out. This is very on the spot. I just thought of this. Hear me out. Max to Mercedes, George to Cadillac.
I mean, I like that.
Max
Yeah,
Mercedes, George
I like
Cadillac. Yeah, it's not too bad.
I literally thought of that
I like
as
it.
I was thinking about
I don't
because I
hate
thought Valtteri
Or
Mercedes. but
or Max to Cadillac and George to
shot.
Red Bull.
no shot.
I don't know. I just don't think Cadillac's going to be like a Braun GP type thing where they just show up out of nowhere and start winning.
Yeah.
So I think
No.
you got to kind of just account for, hey, let's just get some experience behind the wheel so we can build to that moment.
I think their best option is either, like I said, a Formula E IndyCar driver, experienced guy in that field, and a Formula 2 rookie, or a Formula E guy, or I guess probably more likely an IndyCar guy, and like Valtteri.
There's going to be an American behind the wheel, in my opinion.
You think so?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. It's not going to be Logan Sargent, obviously. But,
It's not
Give me
if
Connor Daly and
if
Alex
it's gonna be
Palou.
if it's going to be an American, it's got to be from IndyCar.
yeah.
You're
it's
not
gonna
going
be
to
an
pull an
IndyCar for sure.
American from
I mean,
the junior
Well, though,
categories.
if you're going to take an American from IndyCar, who would you take? That's what my question
Joseph
is.
Newgarden, maybe.
Well, I guess.
But he's also fixed in there with Penske.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I guess Alex Palou is not American.
No.
no,
Who was the other guy? Oh, Alex Herta. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, or Colton
Colton
Herta.
Herta.
Colton
Yeah,
Herta,
that's
that's what I
actually solid choice.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
with his dad, bring his dad over
Yeah.
yeah,
as crew chief.
I don't know. I think it could be really interesting, but I definitely think they've got to find someone with experience in F1 to put in that car.
Yeah.
And I just don't see very many options for them right now unless they
No.
can poach from the grid.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you have to get an experienced guy as your reserve driver. I think you can go kind of whatever you want to do with the two drivers per se.
Really?
Well, because I think
I
if you put
disagree.
if you put an experienced guy there, again, you're either one, you're not looking to win races, or two.
Why are you not looking to win races with an experienced guy?
Well,
What
'cause
about
who-
Valtteri
who-
Bottas says, I'm not winning, I don't want to win races.
I just
Valtteri's a
don't
race
think-
winner.
Yeah, but I don't think he's still like that.
I think he is.
I think he's like where Lewis is at right now.
But Lewis is still
Lewis
I
is
think
dealing
Lewis
with the
can
Ferrari, though.
absolutely
Can,
still win races.
But look where he's at right now. Would you say right now he's winning races? I say
Yeah,
no.
but that's a
well, he's
Ferrari
not. He's in a
sucks,
Ferrari
man.
that has that's not capable of winning races.
Yeah.
Who's to say
think
Calic's capable of winning
If
races?
Lewis was in a McLaren right now, he'd be wiping the floor with Oscar and Lando.
Oh, sure. Well,
Yes. There's no. I mean, Oscar's tentative, Lando's 100%.
No, I agree
He's
with you there.
Like he'd
I
be
think
up there
Oscar
with.
would still beat him.
Yeah, but I think that Oscar wouldn't have 4 race wins if his teammate was Lewis Hamilton.
Well, Lewis Hamilton, sure.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Valtteri Bottas.
No. You said Lewis Hamilton isn't winning races at Ferrari. I said, well, the Ferrari's not quick enough to win
Okay.
races. If Lewis was
I
at
thought you said Valtteri Bottas for some
If
reason.
Lewis was at McLaren, he'd be wiping the floor with
No,
Lando
I
Norris.
agree. I agree.
That's for sure. If Lando was a teammate, and if it was Oscar, I think they'd be
Yeah,
tied,
that'd
if
be
not
very
closer
close.
Yeah.
on if not like
Yeah.
3-2 or whatever on race.
You know
wins.
what's funny? I was just thinking about this. Lewis Hamilton is everything Lando should be.
In
Because
what ways?
well, because I think
I agree
because
but
I think Lewis's driving style is a lot more like Lando's. Like, I think Lewis is a lot more calculated, a lot more efficient with his moves. Like, he's not gonna be like Max and he's like, oh, if you don't, you either crash or you pass.
Yeah.
He's not like that.
well, I don't think Max is particularly like that, but I think you've got to be smart to go up against Max. You've got to race him smart.
I'd
People were
argue you have to be
asking-
smarter versus Lewis.
I saw a lot of comments on TikTok throughout this last week because we got to see the Red Bull of Max Verstappen battling against Oscar and battling against Lando. And people started raising questions of like, well, is Max racing Lando differently than he races Oscar? I don't think he is,
yeah, no.
but
I just think
I think it's the opposite. I think Lando races Max differently than Oscar races Max. I think
No, I agree with
Oscar
you there.
approaches it with a lot more, like, let's fuck around and find out than
Yeah.
Lando does.
Yeah.
Lando's a lot more cautious, and I think
Yeah.
if you go into it cautious
think Lewis
against a
would be the
driver
same
like
way.
Max, well, Lewis learned to not be cautious.
Well, right.
I think
I know.
Lewis grew as a driver in 2021 immensely.
I agree.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think though, to your point, that Oscar's driving style, like Max's driving style fits what Oscar does well versus Lando's driving style or Max's driving style doesn't fit Lando well, if that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying, but I think a world champion's got to be able to fight everybody. But we're not going to get into that conversation today.
Okay.
We won't get into that one today.
We gotta get you to write a book about who can be a world champion.
I could write a book about the qualities of a world champion, and I guarantee you it applies to 95, if not 99% of all world champions in F1.
The law of a winner.
What you must be to win
Until proven otherwise.
until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Alpine. Biggest news of the week, Franco's out. Sorry,
Ooh.
Franco's in,
Franco's
Jack's
in.
out.
Shocker.
Shocker. To be fair, it is the 6 races
Yeah,
that we
it's
were all
good.
told.
Yeah.
He got 6 races.
We're
Now,
right on time.
there's a bit of a asterisk there that Franco's only getting 5 races.
Yeah.
So he's
Very
said
Red Bull-esque, I must
they
say.
said Franco Colapinto will be in the car for the next 5 races. That's what they said.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, who the heck were they putting after that? Like,
well, they can only use 4 drivers, so
Flavio
they
was
can
going
only
in.
take one
yeah,
more.
literally.
You can only have 4 drivers in between both cars along a season. So a lot of people were joking. They were like, "Oh, they can just rotate their reserve drivers until the end of the year." Their
Literally.
only options, if they were to not go with Franco after those 5 races, is they can pull one more driver, or they can put Jack back in the car.
I think
Yeah.
as long as Franco doesn't wreck that car all 6 times, he'll stay for the rest of the season.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
At least out of hope.
the memory in F1 is short. We always say like you're only as good as your last race.
Mm.
And I think there's also the like aspect of whoever kind of gets the last laugh. Like even if Franco does maybe potentially a little bit worse than Jack in terms of like actually looking at like the placement of where he's finishing.
Yeah.
Like I said, if he doesn't crash much, his last race of those 5 is not a crash.
Right.
Like that's your most recent memory is Franco did not that bad.
Yeah.
Whereas Jack also did not that bad, but your most recent memory is like, oh, Franco wasn't that bad, we'll keep him, you know?
Yeah.
I almost wonder at this point what it takes to be in Alpine more than 5 races. Like, do you have to be Max Verstappen? Like, what is it? What's the line here?
Pierre Gasly. I love Pierre. I think Pierre's done a great job with that team.
Yeah.
The tweet from Oscar Piastri becomes more iconic every day as Alpine
What could have
becomes
been.
more and more chaotic.
Yeah.
I'm sure Oscar is like, thank the Lord I'm out and I'm
Yeah.
at this race-winning, championship-winning team
Oh, yeah.
now. What I think is the most ironic, though, is, first of all, this comes alongside the news that Ollie Oakes resigned as team principal to be replaced by Flavio Briatore. We will get into Flavio because Flavio is a whole other story, one that I don't know. Have you done a Throwback Thursday about Flavio?
Don't think so.
You
no.
should. That should be this week's or next week's Throwback
Yeah.
because the lore there is insane, and we'll talk about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, though, Flavio takes over as team principal. Flavio's also Jack Doohan's manager. So, like, who was fighting for Jack here? Because I guarantee you it wasn't Flavio Briatore. He, like, threw him under the bus.
I fear it was no one.
I fear you were a stepping stool to get back into this team.
Jack Doohan to IndyCar confirmed. Watch out.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it, low-key.
Jack doing the IndyCar.
But he's staying as a reserve for the rest of the year, so there's that. Flavio is iconic. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's an icon
He's got longevity
in the worst
sport.
possible way. I loved his Drive Survive quotes, but in my opinion, he should have stayed banned from the sport.
Yeah.
He is responsible for. I mean, okay, would you argue Crashgate was worse or Abu Dhabi 2021 was worse?
Abu Dhabi 2021 for sure.
You think it was worse?
Yeah.
Okay. So the second worst scandal,
They're
I
very
think, in
close.
F1.
They're very close. Yeah. No, definitely the second worst though. Yeah.
Second worst scandal in F1 history. He's responsible for it. He got banned. He fought it, came back, and now he's the team principal of a Formula One team again.
Yeah, well, not to get political, but our president's a convicted felon. I mean, come
Anything
on.
is possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
it's
don't want to say it
crazy.
was fair, but like his lawyers won. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Literally.
I don't know. It's so interesting. It's so complex.
It is.
And obviously, like, there's nothing that can be done, I guess. Like,
No.
it's just,
His
it is
lawyers
what it
won
is.
fair and
His
square.
lawyers won, and,
you
and
can't.
that is
You
what
can't
it
do
is.
anything about it.
But it's just kind of like, I don't know. I wonder how, this can sound crazy, but like, I wonder what their celebrity investors think. Like, what does Rory think? What does,
That
Not that
depends
they
on
don't
how
ca-
much they're involved. Like
They
I'm
don't
sure
care.
how much
They
they know
don't.
about the sport. How much they know about the sport.
I'm sure they don't know enough. Like I'm sure they. I don't know. Like
sure-
I'm sure that Rory doesn't care. Almost like yeah.
yeah.
Like they just don't know. Like, I'm
Alpine's not gonna
sure-
be like, "Hey, did you know this guy cheated?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't know.
a interesting situation. But with that, let me real quick mention, because nobody's talking about this, and I think this is really, really, I don't want to call it funny because funny is definitely not the word.
It's not
but
ha funny.
it's
funny.
not ha
How
funny.
Weird.
It's fun. Yeah, it's weird funny. Ollie Oaks, he resigned. But he is also currently believed to be quote unquote hiding in Dubai after his brother was arrested for I believe fraud. So everybody when he resigned was like, oh, this has to have to do with Jack and Franco, whatever. He thought they shouldn't do it, so he resigned, whatever. I'm now increasingly believing it had nothing to do with Alpine at all.
It's possible.
And whether he resigned himself or he was forced to resign because of his brother, I wouldn't be surprised. Or if he's involved in some way, I wouldn't be surprised either. Which sucks because I loved Ollie. But
it's unfortunate. What you gonna do?
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
In light of all of this, though, because as we thought about Jack and Franco, there were some other driver spots that came to mind. I want to look into the Bast a little bit.
Love the Bast.
Fair or not, did they work out kind of in the long run kind of thing? This one's a little early, but Liam for Yuki this year.
I'd say yes.
Was it fair? And did it work?
Fair's a funny question.
Fair is tough. I mean, it's hard to judge for how few races in they had, but I think it's worked out.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so
Yuki could be doing better, but
He's
I
doing
don't know
better
if
than Liam.
he's doing better than Liam. Liam only had 2 chances though.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I would like to say I think it's fair though, and I think it worked out.
I think it worked out. I just don't know if I would say fair
Okay.
for
It's
Liam or
weird.
Yuki, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just the Red Bull seat 2 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Other way, it's unfair.
I don't think it was fair, but I do think it worked. I think Liam is doing better at VCARB and Yuki is doing better at Red Bull. I think they kind of worked a little bit
In
both
all
ways.
honesty, though, I don't know how much longer Liam's going to be in F1.
He was promised a chance. I think he got it.
Yeah.
The problem for Red Bull and RB is there's no one to replace them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best I can think of is Arvid Lindblad, and he just got into F2, and he's good, but I don't think he's ready, and I don't think that it's the time when you're getting closer and closer to that Max Verstappen retirement date. Which is true. I mean, he has a contract till 28, and I really don't see him going that much further than that. That's
Right.
what 3 seasons. I don't think. I think that they can't rush.
No.
They can't rush the next one. It's got to be right because we've been talking about it all season. It's Max, not Red Bull, that's capable of winning races this season.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have that for too much longer, so they've got to find someone else. And I think it could be Arvid. I mean, it's possible,
Yeah.
but not next year.
No.
In 2 or 3 years' time.
It's just hard
So-
because, like, the way I feel like it's, like, literally the only thing that's keeping Red Bull and RB alive is Max Verstappen.
Correct.
If it
Yeah.
weren't for Max, they would both be gone.
I mean, as it currently
Like-
stands, their substitutes are not filling the shoes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
So
Max Verstappen might as well be the only driver on both teams.
I think what Red Bull might have to do is honestly not rely on their farm system, but just go buy a driver.
Yeah, find someone
they
else.
Yeah.
have to. Because, like, to your point, they have no one else to replace anyone. They can't replace Yuki. They can't replace Liam. Who's the... who is the other driver on RB? I'm totally forgetting now.
Isaac?
That's right.
Yeah.
Isaac's, like, the only one that has somewhat of promise.
I think Isaac will get lucky. Because I think if Isaac can continue to perform decently and kind of do what Yuki did at RB and just kind of hold out, be just good enough.
Yeah.
I think he'll inherit the Red Bull seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We talk about
So-
Ferraris like the Cowboys of F1, but really Red Bull is the Cowboys of F1. If we're being brutally honest here.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, now. I think in the past it was still Ferrari though.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Because, like, they can't do much right now.
Correct. From any standpoint,
Yeah.
that
they're not-
Yeah.
Yeah.
from a
Like, Helmut Marko's Jerry Jones at this point. And
Helmut Marko's got to retire.
Yeah.
It's time.
So is Jerry Jones.
But the correct replacement, he said it himself, is Seb, and I don't think Seb is
Yeah.
ready to come back.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys, the Red Bull, I think, are digging them in a further and further hole as time goes on.
Oh yeah, the hole is
It ain't
getting
gonna be
deep.
bigger.
The hole started years ago, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was further cemented by the Nick DeFries Danny Ricciardo swap,
Yeah.
which fair
All
or
would have been
not.
okay if they just kept Danny Rick.
I mean, literally.
And then all the way back to, I mean, they had Max got the seat through a mid-season swap with, it wasn't even mid-season, but it was a swap with Kvyat.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, 10 years ago? 9 years ago? 10 years ago? 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd have had to count in my hands, but that's okay.
Gotta use
Don't
the old
judge.
system.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
put
man.
the finger down or whatever it is. Yeah.
So, and then there was the Alex and Pierre switch.
Yes. That was in 2019, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Danny and Nick DeFries and Danny Kvyat. Sorry, Danny Ricciardo.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Yeah.
I wrote them differently.
Which is a big one because I don't even know where is Nick DeVries now. Is he still in Formula E?
Yeah, he went back to Formula E.
He is still there. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he's managed to stick around there.
Because he was good there. He's still good there.
Formula
I think
E.
he just never adapted to the Formula One car and was just
It
not
says
good enough.
I don't even know if has he ever won a Formula E championship.
Yeah, he was FE champion. I thought it was the year before.
You might be right. Jason would know this.
Jason would know that.
Jason
Jason
would know
this just like stupid knowledge.
I want to say it was the year before he came to F1.
Okay, wait. So yeah, so 2018 is when he. No, what year did he come to F1? 2019. Am I wrong? No, 2020. Test and reserve drivers, 2022. He was on loan to Williams. And then 2023, he started with AlphaTauri. So in 2020...
He was Formula E champion the 2020-21 season.
I don't know. I'm not seeing... I'm just going to go and Google it. Did he win? Nick DeVries,
Yeah.
what's it called? Formula E champion. What year?
Yeah, 2020,
It's
21.
loading. This is not going quickly. Penn State, how dare you do me dirty one more time?
It was 2020.
Oh,
21.
2020, 2021.
I just said that.
All right, but
He didn't believe you.
I did believe you, but I had to
No.
find it on my own.
No, he didn't believe me. It's okay. So we're just talking about male dominance in this sport.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, because again, he's a good driver. He's not horrible. It's just he never clicked in F1.
No.
That's okay.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think for me, Nick, because of the way the attitude on Nick DeFries, there was no like, and again, like Checo had this too, where he was just so bad and like he never kind of admitted it, and fans like hated him for it, myself included. Nick had an attitude coming in where it was like, I'm gonna destroy my teammate, and he didn't. And so from if you look at like compare it to like the right now with, or even compare it to like Logan and Franco, like people liked Logan, or if you compare it to Jack and Franco, it's like on a human level, I really do feel for Jack, and I do fear. I felt for Logan. Like it sucks.
Yeah.
On a human level, I feel for him. But on like I didn't feel for Nick DeFries. Nick DeFries kind of just dug himself a hole. It was like, good for you, get out, like finally. And then like I mean for Jack, it's like I feel for him on a human level. From a competitive standpoint, I understand that like this is the pinnacle of motorsport. You know, if you're not competitive, you're out.
Yeah.
But I also think that we were just now getting to the European races that he has raced at before on tracks that he know. I would have wanted them to give him a little bit more time.
Sure.
And I think that can be said from a lot of people.
Red Bull doesn't have time.
I think it could be said from a lot of people, though. I think the only people that like really gave the driver time was Williams.
Right.
I think Williams gave Logan plenty of time.
Sure.
I think they were very fair with Logan. But I think I would have loved to see Jack at the European tracks to see what he could have done on tracks he knew well and had competed at in the past.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a lot of money with Franco Colapinto.
Sure.
Just like there's a lot of money behind Danny Rick, there was a lot of money behind Nick DeFries. So it's like, fundamentally, at the end of the day, it's all about politics and money.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Like, fair or not.
No matter what we want or choose to want or what we like, doesn't matter.
Money,
Yeah.
Money pays.
Money pays.
I mean, I would like to say that I'm sure somebody would offer Danny Rick a massive contract to start for any team, but it's not there, you know? Like for example, that's a fan favorite that's probably not going to,
Yeah.
race in anything ever again.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. That's aggressive.
I think that's by
but still.
choice.
Yeah, I think it's by choice too, but I don't know. I think he is going to live, this is like on a little tangent, but he's going to live forever in grief about making that move to McLaren.
Yeah.
He
To
will.
Renault.
Or Renault initially, yeah. I mean, he did win a race with McLaren.
I
That's fair.
think he will forever regret that moment, not just because he made it, but the reason he made it. Because I think he was running scared. I think he was scared to lose his number one spot to Max Verstappen.
That's fair.
And so he left to be number one somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he had some really good races at Renault.
Yeah.
He had some good races at McLaren, but Red Bull got better and better and better, and he got worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
Sure.
So yeah, I think he will live to regret it. But also hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
couldn't have known that. And I mean, McLaren got better right after he left. So
But he's Danny Rick, though. He's got that to live for.
yeah,
He's good. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
he'll be fine. He's sponsoring Red Bull's F1 Academy driver. His Enchante brand is on her race suit. It's
Really?
very cute. Yes.
I really wish
I
his
noticed it this weekend.
clothes were cheaper. His merch is
His
very
merch
expensive.
is very cute, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I would love.
I don't
for,
have any Danny Rick merch, but I'd love some. But it's
Well,
so expensive.
I would
the one
love
merch in
Danny Rick
general.
to become the next Travis Pastrana. That'd be sick. And I think it could have happened, low-key.
Travis Pastrana. Maybe. I mean,
He's a motorsport guy.
he is. I mean, well, kinda. I mean, he's mostly just done open wheel racing.
Yeah, he does dirt bikes and stuff too, though.
Yeah.
I think he could find a really happy home in IndyCar. Or Formula E for that matter, but mostly IndyCar.
I think
what
he's gotta do-
I think he would love NASCAR.
I think what
Oh,
Danny Rick
absolutely.
should do is, maybe some NASCAR. He's got to do kind of what like Cletus does. You guys know Cletus
Oh,
McFarlane?
yes.
I
Well, see, that's
don't.
what I mean by, like, Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like kind of a raise hell type of thing.
Absolutely.
Like maybe do a social media type of like, kind of where like Valtteri's gotten more online and whatnot since retiring. Well, not
Yeah.
retiring, but like not
From
driving.
Reserve, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what Danny Rick has to do. I think Danny
Absolutely.
Rick should like hop on social media and just like kind of do some like for some context, Marina. This guy Cletus McFarland, he's on like YouTube and whatnot.
You know Ken Block?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ken Block
Yeah.
type of stuff. Like, oh, we put the largest motor in the smallest car, and now we're gonna go just fucking
Yeah.
raise hell. You know, let's like do whatever you
And
can.
the thing is, too, like, Red Bull, that's what Red Bull does as a marketing team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
That's
do.
their thing.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised Red Bull didn't try and offer them like, hey,
I think he did. That's the thing. I think this is like it's a Danny Rick by choice. Like Danny Rick disappeared because he wanted to.
That's okay.
I think if there comes a moment where he is ready to do something like that, which I think is totally like in his character, it would make total
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely.
I think Red Bull would be the first one to come calling and be like, "Yeah, come do it for us."
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably true.
And if not, I think he could find a really happy home in another motor racing series. But at this point, he's been out for a while and not performing for a while and in
Yeah,
a back-to-back team for so long that, like, if he was going to jump into another series, I would have expected it to be for this year.
Yeah.
If at the latest next season, but you're really pushing it.
The Red Bull adventure is over.
Much
Get this
more,
guy an
yeah.
extreme E car. That'd be sick.
I would love to see Danny Rick do rally.
That's what I'm saying.
Rally, yeah. Maybe in the Outback in Australia.
Yeah.
Get him
Be
doing a
cool.
Dakar.
Oh, the,
Yeah.
the Dakar, yeah,
The
yeah,
Dakar.
yeah.
Yeah. Him and Carlos Sainz
Interesting.
Sr., man.
Oh.
Carlos Sainz Sr. is mega.
He is.
His the ability he has to do what he does at his age is crazy.
He's like Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montoya is one of those too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Where it's just hella impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But, any final thoughts on driver swaps?
Mm,
Nothing off the top of my head.
yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of pish-washy.
It is. It's so like, it sucks. Like I said, it sucks on a human level. But I think a lot of them ended up working out.
Well, I was going to say, is there one that you could, besides honestly Max Verstappen, is there one you could look at and be like, wow.
Michael Schumacher.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he subbed out for a guy that got arrested, though. So, I mean, subbed in.
There were others that really worked out in either the team or the driver's favor.
Yeah.
Like, I think that George's one race at Mercedes when Lewis had COVID.
Yep.
Was monumental for his switch to Mercedes.
Yeah.
He showed he could do it, and he got totally screwed out of a win.
Yeah, he was gonna win that race.
He was gonna win that race. I think those there's
Didn't
some
Checo
other
win that race?
one.
Who won that race? That was Checo's first win, wasn't it? Was that his Force India? I think so.
It may have been. If it was the 20th to first win. That was his first win.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Sakir Grand Prix in 2020. I think that was
Which
it.
one of the two? There's two of them.
There's two? Yeah, I'll tell you real quick.
Because that was the COVID year.
Yeah, it was. There was two? Are you sure there was two of them?
There were two Bahrain races. It may be Bahrain and Sakir separately.
Sakir was a one-off. Yeah, it says it's a one-off. It was a one-off Formula One motor race that took place on the 6th of December 2020. And this will tell me right away. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton wasn't in the race. So it was that race.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
wild.
Because that's right, because it was a crazy podium. It was Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon, and Lance Stroll. That was the top three.
What is that, an F2 race?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's crazy. Well, it can't even be F2 because Lance didn't do F2. It was an F3 race, man.
Literally.
No, it's crazy. That combo is crazy.
Absolutely.
I watched this TikTok today. It was like kind of comparing like almost the eras. It was like before it would show like Lando Norris and then would flash and it was like Lewis Hamilton, kind of like a similar, like you mentioned before, kind of similar style.
Yeah.
And then it showed Charles Leclerc and Michael. And then it was Fernando Alonso and Fernando Alonso. But every time I think of Perez, I think of Alonso as well. It's two of those drivers that just made it so long.
Yeah.
They were just like, Alonso is good.
Yes.
Is good. But Checo was one of those, like I kind of said with like Yuki and stuff, that he was like good enough for long enough.
Yeah.
And
So-
F1, that's saying something. I mean,
It is. Longevity is everything.
Wait, am I losing my mind here? Lance Stroll's real last name is Strulovich?
Yes.
What the hell is going on? Okay.
Did you just now find that out?
I'm on his like Wikipedia because
Why
it's,
does he go by Stroll? Just because it's easier?
Yeah.
Oh,
They've always been gone by Stroll.
interesting.
Interesting. I
That
had
is
no clue.
interesting.
Yeah. Him and his dad. Okay. Imola predictions.
So Max won last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Max ain't winning
I think
again.
your top three was Max, Lando, and Charles. Was last year. So immediately eliminate Charles.
That's so sad.
I mean, it's a fact though.
I think a P3 for Charles is now out of the question. For me, it's not out of the question because
It's
it's Imola.
not. No, P3 isn't up like out of the question for like anybody. I mean, freaking Kimi Antonelli could come in P3, or even
Literally.
Alex Albon.
Yeah,
at
Alex
this point.
Palou could take
Palou.
P3. Yeah,
Plus killing it in
yeah, man.
IndyCar.
Let's see.
he really is. He needs to get out IndyCar just because he's ruining it like Kyle Busch in the Truck Series. Like, golly.
I mean, well, that's a whole nother topic
It is.
because I actually appreciate when the old guys go down and whoop the young kids. Because
Show them how
just
it's
not
done.
okay.
well, but it is because
No.
a lot of these young kids, especially in NASCAR, then they don't have that authority figure
No,
that shows
I get
them
what you're saying.
to get they got to get their ass whooped. You know,
But I'd
there's a
rather-
lot
That's-
of disrespect.
That's how I feel about Lewis and Lando in what race was that? It was this year, a street race. Singapore? No.
You're talking about why it took him forever to pass?
Yes.
Maybe Singapore.
It was a race
Have we
ago,
been to
wasn't
Singapore
it?
this year?
It was 2 races ago.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever that
Whichever
was.
race it was, a street circuit. whatever. Pure race it was this year, the street circuit. I totally forgot. But like that's how I felt about that situation. It was like someone needed to put him in his place and like be smart and show him like this is how it's done.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, that's another can of worms, but I actually like it when the old guys go down and whoop the young kids in their series, show them who's boss. But if we're talking Imola, talking my top 3, I don't think Oscar's going to leave his foot off the gas.
I don't think so either.
So I'm going to have Oscar winning it again.
Okay.
P2, I'm not going to have Lando, though. I think Lando's going to be P3. P2, I think we're going to have lucky George Russell will somehow find his way onto P2.
Okay.
I don't see a Ferrari on the podium in Italy, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that is my top 3.
So who was it again?
It was Oscar, George, and then Lando.
Okay.
That was my 3.
Yeah, I like
It's
that.
very safe.
I think it's a safe option.
It's
I
very
think the
safe.
wild card is George, obviously,
Yeah.
but I don't know. He hasn't been bad. I mean,
Yeah.
his speed has been good. He
Yeah.
just doesn't have the speed to win races yet, but it's not his fault. I think it's the Mercedes' fault and the fact that the McLaren is so fast. So,
Absolutely.
you know.
I want to ask before we get to the Stevens. Do you have like a biggest flop of the weekend? Do you think someone in particular is gonna be like bad? I love Tommy, Matt and Tommy's. This is very Matt
I
and
do
Tommy
love
inspired.
that,
Matt and Tommy's
yes.
biggest flop.
Biggest flop of the weekends. If I was to take a stab at that, that's a tough one because there's like kind of almost like expected flops. Like at this point, do I say like Fernando Alonso?
I think it's
DNFing?
hard to pick an unexpected flop than there is to pick an expected flop.
Yeah. I mean, all right. I'll pick a guy that should be in the top 6, but probably won't finish in the top 6. I have Hamilton not finishing in the top 10.
See, to me,
Okay.
that's not even a flop. That's just how it's going at the moment.
But he should finish
But
in
he
the top
should
10.
be
He
in the
should,
top
but
six.
the
He
way
should
it
be in the
has
top
been
10.
going,
if
I don't
not the
think.
top 10.
If not the top 10, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Fair enough.
So Lewis, no points.
Yeah. I think Charles will get points, but Lewis none.
Interesting.
And I think it's going to be another hilarious weekend of radio bits with him and his engineer.
I
Sure.
would
I think
assume
so.
so, especially
Sure.
in Italy.
Yeah.
Steven?
Yeah. So I also have
Oscar
Oscar winning.
Oscar.
I also have Oscar winning. Yeah, I don't have any belief. I'm at the point with him where it's like he doesn't win to proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Very
but
Max-esque.
indeed. But yeah, and then see, I would love to say Kimi P2, but I think Lando does have a bit over him. So I think Lando P2.
Nice.
And I think Kimi P3.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think Kimi gets P3 in his home race.
Alrighty.
So I'm trying to decide between going safe or blowing all of your minds. Because this might be like Marina's greatest prediction.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. Lando.
That's crazy.
I'm shocked. I'm
Lando.
shocked. Someone pinch me right now.
What if she said Lando P3?
P1.
Okay.
Wow. First of all, is he gonna be lucky or is this like a genuine win?
Gotta
Because
clarify.
that's the other question.
Genuine with team orders.
So there's a
Interesting.
At some point, there will be a flip, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right.
With this particular race, not saying like down the road, I just think like something very like when they did it with Oscar
Yeah.
and they were like, Oscar gave it to you earlier, like give it back kind of thing.
I hear you.
Last year, kind of like that.
Okay.
I'm not as dramatic, but like something along those lines
Yeah.
potentially. So yeah, Lando. This is so hard. Lando, Oscar, Kimi.
Okay. It's not
I
bad.
think
Yeah.
the Ferrari's not quite there,
I don't think so either.
but I think I'm very curious. Toto Wolff said it last week. I'm very curious to see what Kimi Antonelli can bring to a circuit he's raced at before
Yeah,
and a home race for him.
for sure.
So
He's done well there too.
he has done well there in the past.
Yeah.
That is true.
Did you have a biggest flop, Steve? Mine is gonna blow your mind.
I know it's gonna be Max, so you don't have to say it.
Yes, Max, not in the top 5, and I think that's a flop.
Yes, for Max's standard, that is a flop.
Yeah.
but- See, am I just too hard? Like, I just don't think there's anyone I expect that outside the top 10 that would be a flop. Maybe that's just me. I guess George outside the top 10.
Okay.
That's a flop for
Interesting.
sure.
Yeah.
That's like an unexpected
For
flop.
his consistency this year, that is definitely a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been extremely consistent.
Mhm.
But any final words for the last pod in the studio?
No, it's been good. I'm gonna miss this place.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely the best quality in terms
Yeah.
of the way we record.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Going remote will be fine. We'll figure it out. It'll be good. But no, it's been a good last pod.
Guys.
Obviously miss Jason. He was here last week, but well, technically 5 days ago.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been good. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
It's hot in here.
It is on here. I'm not gonna
But
miss that.
I will likely still be in here, so
Mhm.
we'll see that.
Yeah.
But
The studio's not going anywhere.
no, it's
The
not.
faces will change a little bit.
Yeah,
Willis
likely.
still has his grasp on Murray
But-
for one more year.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. I'm sure we'll make like an Instagram
We'll make
post or
Instagram
something.
posts or announcements and whatnot in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
But it is the last one in here. The four of us will continue at least through the summer.
Yep.
Likely. So there will still be us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The scenery might be changing, but
yes.
the people will stay mostly the
100%.
same. We'll have some additions. If you liked Christina will be back, likely in the fall. So stay tuned
Yipper.
for that. And stay tuned on our socials for not only an announcement, but your Tech Tuesdays and your Throwback Thursdays. Those will continue. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Godspeed.
Peace.